So this is the story of Allensworth, where we see two people who have made a large grave. In this grave, they buried many people simultaneously because an epidemic had spread through Allensworth, causing people to fall ill and die. The epidemic was spreading rapidly, and those affected were being put in a cell to die, preventing the spread. The epidemic also claimed the life of the city's mayor, creating chaos in the city. To run the town, a new mayor was needed urgently. They chose a magician, thinking his magic would save everyone from the epidemic. Despite this, Franklin, the former mayor's assistant, questioned whether Henry, the magician, had caused the epidemic to become the new mayor. No one, including Henry, paid attention to Franklin's concerns. Henry warned the people that if they didn't decide to make him mayor soon, the situation could worsen. Meanwhile, Henry found his daughter with a mark on her hand, signifying she had also fallen victim to the epidemic and would soon die. Henry decided it was time to put an end to the epidemic and save his daughter. Everyone in the town supported his decision. In the next scene, Henry uses his magic to end the epidemic, but it comes with a terrible side effect. A massive monster appears in the town. This monster, summoned by Henry's magic, couldn't be controlled. The only way to keep it under control was by offering it a human sacrifice once a year. In return, the monster would leave the town in peace for the rest of the year. We learn that the monster killed an innocent villager who had been tied up by the townsfolk as a sacrifice. The villager had a special mark on his hand. The scene then shifts to a group of people in the forest who had heard stories about Allensworth. A child in the group was excited as he found a map that led to the town. While running in excitement, he tripped on a stone and broke his leg. His companion Mike told him to stay and rest while he and Jessica went in search of a forest officer or a doctor. As they walked, Mike and Jessica came across a wooden cross with a warning not to enter the city. Despite Jessica's objections, Mike crossed the warning. Jessica had no choice but to follow. At first, they saw no one in the city, but soon they heard a bell, signaling the presence of people. Meanwhile, the injured companion discovered a lock, the same lock that had been used to trap infected people at the beginning of the film. His friend warned him not to open it, but curiosity got the better of him. Upon opening the lock, he saw nothing at first, but as he turned around, a large monster appeared and killed him. The monster then threw his leg at the other companion, terrifying her. She tried to run, but the monster chased her. The scene cuts to the townspeople, including Henry, and we learn that despite many years passing, Henry and the people of Allensworth hadn't aged. Oddly, there were no children in the town. Henry performed a magical ritual where a strange symbol appeared on his hand, indicating that a boy from the town would be the monster's next victim. Henry's daughter became furious and told him to stop sacrificing people to the monster. She suggested finding a way to kill it, fearing that eventually, all the townspeople would become its victims. Meanwhile, the scene cuts back to the forest, where the monster kills another companion. Jessica and Mike meet Henry, and he warns them that they should not have come to the town so soon. When Henry heard the word Allensford, Mike was shocked. He couldn't believe he was in the same town from the stories. Realizing his life was in danger, Mike tried to escape, but Henry's guards captured him and threw him into jail. There, Mike saw the boy chosen as the sacrifice. When Mike asked why he was there, the boy replied that he had been selected to die so the people of the town could live in peace. Mike couldn't believe it was real. On the other side, Henry's daughter met Franklin and asked why he didn't stop Henry. Many people had fallen victim to the monster, and Henry was now aware that Mike and Jessica had two more companions. When Henry's guards went to find them in the forest, they too were killed by the monster. Franklin then went to Henry, on behalf of his daughter, and asked him what he planned to do about the two children. Henry said they would be sacrificed. Franklin was shocked. Franklin had believed that Henry's magic wand chose the victims for sacrifice, but now he realized that Henry himself was making the choice. Upon learning this, Franklin confronted Henry, saying, "I think you caused all this magic to become mayor, but you couldn't control that magic, and because of that, we got cursed by this demon." "No, we got cursed by this demon because of your magic." Henry's daughter meets the cleric, the same boy chosen for sacrifice. He tells her, "Your life was to be sacrificed, but now in your place, my father will sacrifice these two." He wasn't happy hearing this. He grew angry and said, "What is their fault? Why are these poor people being killed?" He leaves, and as Henry's daughter returns, she confronts her father. She says, "You can't break this spell." Henry doesn't respond and asks her to leave. Furious, she leaves but steals her father's magical book. From the book, she learns that it was her father who spread the disease, not someone else. The scene shifts, showing that the mark of sacrifice has disappeared from the boy's hand and now appears on Mike's hand. This angers the other boy, as Mike's life is now in danger. Jessica begins crying, knowing that Mike is to die. The villagers take Mike and tie him to the cross for sacrifice, but he's fortunate. After learning the truth, Henry's daughter arrives at the jail, frees her friend and Jessica, and they all rush to save Mike. Just as the monster stands before him, they untie Mike, and the group flees. By the time the monster reaches the cross, he's furious, and his anger threatens to destroy the whole town. As Henry's daughter Mike and Jessica reach a particular boundary, she tells them, "You two cross this line and run. You'll save your lives, but we cannot cross this boundary because we are trapped in a magical spell." Behind them, the monster approaches. Confused by its fury, Jessica trips in fear. Henry's daughter's friend helps her and takes her across the boundary, sacrificing himself as he burns to ashes. The monster tries to follow Jessica but cannot. He too is trapped by the magical spell. Henry's daughter vanishes after seeing the monster. The next morning, when the city awakens, they realize that the sacrifice was incomplete. Not only that, but Henry is also missing, which is a major concern. Franklin, Henry's assistant, gathers everyone in the hall. Meanwhile, Henry has gone into the jungle to find his daughter. Mike and Jessica decide to head to the nearby police station to get help. In the jungle, Henry finds his daughter, but she is furious. "I know you're the one behind this. Because of your magic, the monster is after all of us," she accuses. When Henry approaches her, she drops a locket from her waist and her magic wand, revealing she had learned some magic from her father's book. Leaving him alone in the jungle, she returns to the city and tells Franklin and the townspeople, "We don't need to live in fear of that monster anymore. We'll find a way to defeat him." She rallies the town to light candles and chant a mantra, creating a protective salt circle around their homes to stop the monster from attacking. Since Henry was absent, everyone listens to his daughter's instructions. They light candles, chant the mantra, and make salt boundaries. When the monster approaches the town, he cannot enter most houses because of the protective barrier. However, one man, upon seeing the monster in front of his house, drops the candle and breaks the magical boundary. The monster attacks and kills him and his daughter. Franklin witnesses this and becomes terrified. He realizes that if the monster continues, everyone will die. After the massacre, the monster returns to the jungle and finds Henry. Without his magic wand, Henry cannot control the monster, and he is killed. Back in town, Mike and Jessica reach the police station and explain the danger the town faces. However, when the police hear the name Allensworth, they dismiss them as crazy. According to the police, the town exists only in stories. Mike insists, but the police assume they are on drugs and prepare to arrest them. Acting quickly, Mike steals a pistol and escapes with Jessica, heading back to the jungle to save the people of Allensworth. They once again confront the monster. Although Jessica is terrified, Mike shoots at the creature, causing it to flee. Mike and Jessica return to the town hall, where Henry's daughter has gathered everyone. Mike tells her, "We just faced the monster. We shot at him, and he ran away." Henry's daughter responds, "Yes, the monster can be killed, but we need everyone's help. My father scared you all, but not anymore. I've learned a lot of magic from his book, and with that magic, I will defeat the monster." The town agrees to support her, and together, they devise a plan involving traps to weaken the monster. However, Because the monster is magical, it must be fought with magic. Henry's daughter sneaks into the monster's cave and steals one of its broken nails, using it to craft a magical locket. The townspeople prepare a trap, pretending to sacrifice Mike to lure the monster. When the monster arrives to devour him, it senses the trap but proceeds toward Mike anyway. Before the monster can kill Mike, he shoots it with his gun. The monster, while weakened, still advances toward Mike but gets caught in the trap. With the monster now vulnerable, the townspeople begin their final assault. Their arrows, guns, and all other attacks only made the monster angrier. As these attacks continued, Mike also wanted to use his magic, but it took him some time. Meanwhile, the monster broke free from all its chains and started killing them one by one. Seeing everyone in danger, Mike yelled for everyone to run towards the forest. As they fled, Mike and Jessica ran in the opposite direction. While running, they crossed the line that the monster could not cross. It was a magical boundary. Taking advantage of this, Mike stayed on the other side of the boundary and continued shooting at the monster. Meanwhile, Henry's daughter, Amy Hope, arrived with her magical locket. She cast a spell and attacked the monster, causing it to burn to death. As soon as the monster died, all the citizens of Allensworth began to burn as well. In reality, they had been stuck in a time loop. Their time never changed, neither their lives nor their city evolved. For many years, they remained exactly the same. They had no children, and they lived far longer than normal people. When the monster died, their curse was finally lifted, and the time loop came to an end. As everyone in Allensworth perished, their city burned to the ground. This world disappeared, leaving its name only in books. And so, the story ends here.